Hey, what's up? This is Ads. Today's video is sponsored by Avalo, which offers free 24/7 mental health support. And today I'm going to be talking about being 18 years old, being a senior in high school, thinking about next steps. Um, and I'm going to share my journey in hopes that you can perhaps be more informed about some of the pitfalls and some of the opportunities that you might have to improve your life. So, um, to begin, I was one of those people who probably fits into the jock, kind of nerdy jock, or I guess smart jock category. Played varsity sports. Um, I wasn't like inner circle cool kid, if you will. I went to a small high school with 260 kids in their graduating class, so everybody knew everybody. Everybody also knew everybody's business. It was very cliquey. You had the popular kids, the band kids, the theater kids, the popular kids of the not popular kids, um, the jocks, the skaters, the metalheads, the people who did a bunch of drugs and alcohol, the people who didn't, the church group, the smart, people, the um, those groups were really pronounced, and there wasn't a lot of fluidity between those groups in terms of somebody who moves amongst these cliques and has a lot of friends across them. People were relatively adverse to stepping out of the traditional expectation of what it was to be within the friend group. There certainly was like pollination across cliques, but one of my biggest missed opportunities, I think, or takeaways was that the richest experiences in terms of human development and human interaction occurred largely across cliques. I learned the most about myself and the most about my capability and my classmates and other people when I was outside of the cliques that I was most comfortable in. And so, my first piece of recommendation would be to traverse the boundaries of traditional, of what your most immediate clique might be, or like your most immediate friend group, um, and really inquire and be curious beyond those boundaries of where one might be comfortable. I think I had the most enriching experiences and the most meaningful interchanges with students who I had the least familiarity with. Looking back, I had obviously meaningful interactions with my friends, but it was those people who I don't think that had a super strong identity towards one of those cliques, who, like, the people who really had access to and comfort and familiarity with many different groups of people. I admired those people, and I felt that they were um, revered and respected by so many different people, not in a way that was like, do you drink on the weekends? Do you consider yourself cool? Are you really good looking? Or like the superficial definition of what value means in high school, which is typically like you're popular on social, or you're attractive, or you're a great athlete, or you're really smart, and that's worth X amount of value points in your immediate circle or in the broader context of the school or your family. Um, it was those people who I felt moved around between those friend groups who were um, just really amazing people who I had a lot of respect for and reverence for. And still today, they're the people that I look around and I'm like, they treated everybody with respect. I like to believe that I tried to do the same, but I definitely acknowledge that I could have done a better job of treating everybody with respect who was in my graduating class. Being 18, um, or 17 and thinking about where you're going in the world becomes more real when you talk about what happens post this extremely controlled environment. The world is an uncontrolled place. High school is a highly controlled environment. And success in a highly controlled environment depends on a few different things: understanding what is valued, complying with what's valued, performing in the tasks at hand, and typically, not disrupting things is perceived as valuable. So value takes a few forms in high school: athletic value, academic value, social value, musical, theater, performative value is what high school is like all about. Can you deliver outcomes in some sort of a way that is indicative of the quality of a human being that you are or have the potential to be? And we get very wrapped up in the performative or achievement or outcome focused components of high school. And if you take away one thing from this video today, and maybe you're in high school or you're thinking back about your high school experience, the performance is not what matters. What matters is how you prepare to perform and how you respond to the performance. Because the reality is, like, in high school, it feels like you have one senior concert, or you have one shot at the state tournament, or you have one chance on the ACT or the SAT. That may be true to a degree, but the most significant indicator of how you're going to succeed later in life is how you respond to the performance. So let's say you get a score on a test. Later in life, the score on that test won't matter that much, but what you do to respond to the score on the test deeply matters. For example, if you do poorly on a standardized test, ACT, SAT, and you hit the books really hard, and then you take it again and get a good score, that response matters. If you get a bad score on a test and you don't respond and you say, well, I'm just not going to put any more time or effort into it, that's another path. And that may not necessarily be the wrong path for you. I'm not suggesting that getting good test scores is the only thing that matters. What matters, though, is the response. So if you're deliberately choosing not to study and not get a better test score, it would be wise to consider how you respond to that situation. For example, I didn't get a good test score. That doesn't mean you're not going to succeed in life. What matters is how you respond. You can respond to that test score and say, academics wasn't for me. I'm excited about building cars. I'm excited about videography. I'm excited about running a business. I'm excited about coaching. I'm excited about anything else that a test doesn't matter. Go ahead and go do it. It's about the response. So not getting the highest test score doesn't mean you're not going to be the best at whatever you decide to do. It's just about the response to how you perform. And that skill will just continue throughout life forever and ever and ever. It's about how you respond. One quick anecdote. Another anecdote is I lost the senior year high school football state championship game, which where I'm from is a big deal. And one of a parent of us, I used to coach youth lacrosse, and a parent of a child that was on the team said to me after the game, he said, this is going to hurt, and this comment that I tell you doesn't really matter, and it doesn't make it hurt less, but you're going to learn a lot more from this loss than you are from winning. And I didn't understand it at the time. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But fast forward 1 year later, when my brother's grade, their football team won the state championship. I don't know, maybe 10 players from their senior class played football in subsequent higher academic settings. Not a single one of them made it to the NFL. Sure, they played Division 2, 3, 1 at some level, which may have been fun. But in terms of preparing yourself to be a productive member of society, I think only one or two people from my senior class continued to play football. None of us were bound for the NFL, so it didn't really matter. But we all dropped it pretty quickly and kind of were like, okay, my value is not as a football player, right? My value as a human being is somewhere else in society, so I better go get my butt in gear and respond and get in the game elsewhere.